Oh, hello, viewers.
Hello,
So basically, we are back, and we were just talking about going with the flow, and yeah, we're just doing things spontaneously. There's a lot of things that we want to talk about. Natalie is now a co-host because she's just come up with these topics, and we are learning. We'll learn together. Comment below. So this is what Natalie is talking about. Is rap the new emo? And this involves Kanye West. Natalie, tell us what you want to share.
No, first of all, again, thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here. What it was is I was watching some documentaries, sort of dealing with, because we're heading into spring and the new financial year in April. I was just thinking about like rebirth and things like that, and seeds and spring. And in my sort of weird, twisted way, I was watching. It started off from watching the Biggie documentary, and it's sort of like his last days before, I really got into the hymn. And so I started to watch a couple of documentaries about people's last days and what have you, especially rappers that have passed. 'Cause I love hip hop, and it like that is my first music of choice. So there was one documentary that came out which was speaking about Kanye's albums and his genius and what might be next for him, etc. Because there's that thing of where when people have breakups and heartbreaks, they do like amazing music. It's like a kind of a inside joke, which I don't really think is that funny. And because my questioning is do people have to either die or have their heart broken in order to make good music and for their music to be appreciated? And like, it made me start, because I was watching one about ODB, who like even my mom, my mom will turn around. She likes the rhythm, she don't really like the lyrics, but the music she loves. But she always says with ODB, we feel that brother, we feel him. And I was like, interesting. And when you look into his history and that, like, and he was my favorite, he's like that low key character, but it sounded like him not talking no sense, but him did that talk pure sense.
Can you tell people? Sorry, can you tell people who don't know? Okay. Because we on Good Vibes, I was always told by a BBC producer, never assume everyone knows, and also it's to refresh people. So first of all, who's Biggie? Where is he from? Who was he? Can you summarize? And also ODB, because I know, but for those who don't.
True that, for real. So Biggie, Christopher Wallace, was a prolific MC that was basically raised in New York, but was very instrumental in this, what was considered at the time East Coast West Coast beef, and that changed the face of hip hop. Brilliant MC, one of the best to do it. Like, there'll be constant arguments, like the top 5 greatest of MCs of all time. Biggie was one of them. I feel a closer connection to him, the fact that he's got Jamaican roots and that, and salute to Mama Wallace and grandma, like his grandma, like, yeah. So watching the documentary was amazing, like, because I understand that people travel and raise kids other places and that, but until certain things you could hear, like certain rhythms and that, but nobody really knew about his Jamaican roots. Well, I certainly didn't really know about it until watching this documentary, and it just made me kind of have a greater love for him, like knowing, when him go home for go see Nanny and them things. So that's Biggie Smalls, Junior Mafia, P Diddy, Little Kim, so many affiliations. One
Very
of the
quickly,
best.
Sorry to interrupt. For those who have a disconnect with their African and Caribbean roots, just a link to hip hop, which I've always tried to share with youth. Africa,
yes.
Diaspora,
yes.
including the Caribbean and Latin America, on the shores of America, reached one of the pioneers of the 4 pillars of hip hop and rap and graffiti and everything. Kool Herc.
Boom bam.
Jamaican, Caribbean, descent, specifically the island of Jamaica. So everything that Natalie's telling you, have pride in who started this, who passed on the baton. Sorry, Natalie, carry on.
Boom, bam. No, I love it. I'm so glad you said that. And American Gods. On the last episode, we mentioned Lucifer. American Gods is another series of that. And the only reason why I mention it is because there's an amazing episode where Brer Nancy is on one of the slave ships coming over, and the character delivers a monologue, you see? It's about 2 minutes or so long. I'll see if I can find a link and send it to you. But it was very reminiscent of, and put me in mind of, what you're saying about that journey of people coming to find a better life from Africa and the Caribbean and whatever, and go America. You get what I mean? And like get that stamp of approval from people back home, and then come and bring it and make something so prolific. But I do feel like, especially in a time where there's so much discussion around identity, especially for our cousins in the States, I do feel like, boom, anytime you see somebody bringing that back home flavor into what they're doing, into their Americanness, it always busts where I'm flying like kite. It's just another level, man. Like Nipsey, from his background, I believe, is it Ethiopian or Eritrean?
I think it's Eritrean. I think. Correct us below if we're wrong.
Yeah, totally. So there was like that flavor upon him did just separate him nicely. Like even the baby, who's like, for the younger kids now, like he's got such a beautiful face with his little dimples, but I do want to clap him up. Anyway, I believe that is actually Igbo. I was like, huh? Igbo, sorry. Yeah, okay. I believe it's Igbo. Because like it was so interesting seeing him dressed up in his traditional clothes and seeing him and his brethren. I think they was heading to a wedding or something. And then when you started to hear him talking his accent, I was like, hey. And he made so much more sense. Seeing him in his cultural self, I swear it was just like, literally, it's like the scales fell from my eyes. It was amazing. So yeah, it's good that you said that. And then
African Bambata, what's it called? From Queen Latifah wearing the unity, the Ankara hat.
It was all these people. Africa pendants. Exactly. I used to have one.
Missy Elliott, MC Light, all of these trailblazers that are carrying forth. So what I loved what you wanted to raise about this was when you're saying about Kanye West and his influence. So why did this question come to your mind about, is rap the new emo?
Okay, so let me just mention ODB, because I have to just give that man an honorable mention. For the simple fact is, he was one of like I said, he was like a low-key character where he come out with things and sometimes you don't even realize what he said until years later. Like, and he was also very vociferous about being his family as well being foundational, as in that they were related to one of the prolific American Indian tribes as well. What is that the right phrase? It's indigenous people them to America, kind of. Yeah, First Nation people them, and his family's connection to that, which I was like, okay, see your flavor there again. Like, even though it's from that space, there's something about the connection to the roots. All right, I had to just say that, and now I can move on. Salute to the God. He was a member of Wu-Tang Clan. To me, from the first, like one of the most prolific members. But I'll digress. So Kanye, so this documentary was saying like, boom, like from what he's been going through recently, his divorce and mental illness and what have you, allegedly, so that like, cause I ain't got no money, you can't sue me. They're saying that he's going to make some great music, and then they started to talk about going into his history and like what was stunting his growth, or where there was areas that stunted his growth. So they were saying, okay, first album College Dropout. I think the next one was Late Registration. There was a sound, like a distinct Kanye sound when he came into the game.
Can you name some tracks so people will know, and then they'll know the difference between the albums, the sound?
I believe Through the Wire, which is a dope tune, and I think maybe Spaceship, and there's another one, Through the Wire, When It All Falls Down. Just like that was his sound from, I think, College Dropout. Because unpopular opinion, I think he's good at what but I'm not the biggest Kanye fan. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, he's good at what he does, and I respect him. But there was one thing that he said. Well, it's not just one, to be fair. But something instrumental what he said just made my whole spirit turn from him, and it's like I'll observe him, but he ain't got no love in this sense, to be fair. Anyway, I'll move as we move.
No. This is important because it bridges a lot of. He bridges the different generations and stuff. So I'm gonna. Yeah. My thing is, because I'm mashup, I haven't slept enough, and there's a other Kanye and stuff, and this is all. Some things we're commenting on what he has actually said. We're not gonna comment on guesswork and opinion and gossip, but it's very important that he is key in Natalie's question, the linchpin between these genres, the so-called old school rap, because everything yesterday is old to people these days, and emo. So basically, let me bring it up so I can remember. So Kanye, for my thing, he's a one person, one man, and people evolve at different paces. He himself calls himself a genius.
Yeah.
I don't know the terminology of genius, but he is an immense talent. So when I heard about him, it was Jesus Walks.
Yeah, big tune. Big tune.
It was, you stopped in your tracks.
Yeah.
And because I don't know the terminology and stuff, but he had a team of people, he had mentors, he had co-collaborators that brought that sound together, and it blew everything else. You mentioned as well Through the Wire, It Falls Down. There's one of my favorites, and he sang with Adam Levine, and I don't know why it's not coming to my mind at the moment, which is my other favorite song. Hold on, bear with me. Heard him say, and I heard him say, I'm not going to sing because I'll butcher
it. Don't, nah, man. Sing it out, man. Like, we have to sing it out like we're doing.
All right. Forgive us, okay? Forgive me, because this is auto-tune, which Kanye's music said. This is the bad auto-tune. So, heard him say, nothing, and I heard him say, nothing gonna stand today. I can't even do it. This is a bad rap. And I heard him say, nothing tomorrow comes by today. Oh, it's a beautiful track. Just look up Heard him say.
I'll check it.
People that are watching, and it's beautiful. It's with I think it's a guy from Maroon 5 a long time ago.
Yeah.
And let me try and find beautiful lyrics, and always on point. So there's that Kanye. There's the Kanye when there was Hurricane Katrina, had zero fucks to give because they don't care about black people. Yeah. So when you were talking about ODB saying things that people understood later, his zeitgeist, he said it what everyone was thinking and what the facts were. No fucks given. Then you have the Kanye with the Taylor Swift taking back the limelight.
Right.
So like yourself, I'm always interested in other people's perspective, because I mean I follow people all the time. I have a life to live. I'm passionate about some people, and it's their choice in life. I'm a devastation, like you mentioned, losing his mother, losing any loved one, without any kind of closure, your foundation, a part of your heart. That doesn't heal. When it's real love, it doesn't heal. So I always keep that aside. You don't know what's going on in private. The Kardashians, you love who you love. It's not my business. I'm not olofofo. I'm not nosy. It's not my business. But when you put yourself as the speaker, the speaker, and you start talking about enslavement And there was a brilliant guy from, I can't remember which, that just delivered the man to his maker when he talked about enslavement and slavery as a choice. And all this stuff. And, you know, and then he raises discussions when it's about misunderstandings and people's ignorance and lies and weaponizing mental health issues. And he calls someone casually using mad, crazy, when they actually may or may not be speaking facts that are inconvenient to your life and dismissing. So I'm there feeling for him. I'm always thinking for him, and he's not above you and me. None of these celebrities, nobody is us. But you're there, you're like, I hope he's got people around him that care. I really do. And just, that's all. That's the background for people that do not know, beyond the headlines and stuff. Kim Kardashian, he's married. They may or may not be divorcing. I don't care. But is that part of this, what you wanted to talk about in his influence?
No, but you just brought another point up in my mind, because especially on social media, there seems to be this disconnect between men and women. And I do believe that he's such an influential character that the Gold Digger track was, I would say, that was the kind of the pinpoint, the focal point. If I was to bring it back to a time where certain kind of behaviors became all right, I can narrow it down to a certain line in that Gold Digger tune, which is a banger. Don't get me wrong, straight up banger, because I can be objective like that. But in terms of his influence and scope, okay, let's bring it back. So,
what's the line?
We'll talk about it offline. Something about, you know what? It's the line about when he says, "Oh yeah," and when you get on, you leave your ass for a white girl. You know that line. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that was so reinforcing of something that was happening anyway, but to hear it so clearly by this person that was so influential and pivotal through the medium of music, that from this song that you really like, and rhythm and repeated patterns, hypnosis, all of that kind of stuff, and then to be kind of the recipient of the dumpted, so-called, it's like, ooh, that really hurt. And it was that moment that I realized that, you know what, make who him rating and who he's uplifting, make them look after him. That's kind of where I am with him personally. Like,
so you fell out of love with him?
Yeah, like I don't want nothing bad to happen to him. Like, I don't wish no bad upon him, but fam, I got zero fucks about the dude, to be fair. That's just it. No, that's not true. That's not true. Bring it back and think about what you're saying now.
No, I know what you mean.
I care about him as much as he cares about me.
I get you. The thing is, we're forced to care about people. Now, my thing is, I like to give credit. I would give credit to people.
Yeah.
Even if they hate me, even if I don't agree with them, I will source them. I will share things. But I think I grasp things like when people say try and separate the art from the artist or the music from the writer.
No, me can't do that.
It's very difficult because people are so-called cancel culture. They're very selective with who they will do that with. Keep the same energy. My thing is, the reality is, and we don't know each other that well. We're connected. Natty and I, viewers and listeners, have connected online, and she can say things that will bring light to subjects with your help. But I know you don't wish him bad. And the reason why I say that I understand is a different reason, is that we don't wish harm on anybody, because our natures, to a certain extent, my nature would be, I will jump to save somebody that would probably want to kill me. But after I've saved you, my nature is projected to go and save you. We'll F each other up afterwards because I'm going to defend myself. Now, I don't feel love for him because it's a misogynistic line from the same people who expect women to look a certain way and be of that so-called of money for them to fucks with them, but then you're calling them a gold digger. And then you've got the kind of pitting women from different communities and ethnicities against each other. That's one we don't get with. But as a person, when anybody, celebrity or not, is going through hardship, of course, we're going to rant for you and wish you the best. That's where we're coming from.
As for me,
but stay there.
The part this also. So
you asked for this. You asked for this Wahala of fame. You wanted it, you got it. You know what it's deal with. But anyway, Devil's Playground. You asked for it, go play.
Carry on, blood. That's my main phrase. Like the child in me goes, carry on, blood, and that's it.
his rap, the new emo. What do you mean by that? Why the question?
So that album was the album that caused that question was 808 and Heartaches, which has got the hey 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 hey, you know you will. I don't really know the song like that, but I'm aware of it. It's a tune still, I'm not gonna lie. But the whole album came about like around the time of when his mom passed and his engagement fell up, like he was no longer engaged anymore. So heart broke. Like I understand that and understand processing, and to be able to express that through like a body of work that is amazing, because Paranoid's on there as well, which I love. Funny enough, I was going through something at the time, and a younger person for me, there's about 10 years between us, like my little brother, he sent me that song because that was his way of saying, look, don't worry about it, like, because that was his reference. Because basically one of the points that was raised in this documentary about him was that with 808 and Heartaches, that was such kind of a very sort of dark, sad, heartbroken energy, was the album that for the older hip hop heads, there was like, oh no, I hate that Kanye album. Whereas like most of the younger, the kind of the new school was like, that's his best album, that's his best body of work. And I was starting to think about it and how so much they tapped into that sadness and that, because a lot of the younger MCs and that, they live a very hedonistic lifestyle. You know, there's all the mollies and this and that and the, what them call it now?
What's that?
The syrup, something with them drink and whatever, the lean and all them something there, and the ecstasy, and it's very hedonistic, and it's almost as if they don't kind of respect life or want to live. There's a very emo quality to it, like the fascination with death, and you know the thing of there's a thing now where it's like, oh, smoke some of the ups ashes in your blunt and and the thing is, I find, because I've got nephews and nieces and a lot of my youths them like around that age, I like to hear what they've been influenced by to kind of know how to talk to them, because my kind of talking, some of them may listen, but for the most part it's not gonna go in. So I need to know how they think and how they pattern, what they've been influenced by, to understand how to pattern with them. You get me? That's kind of why, because I think for me it's to my music taste, it's kind of a bit trash, even though I listen at the innovativeness of it and all that. Basically, it seems to be an expression of a lack of value for life, a lack of understanding, a lack of seeing any future kind of thing. So that's why I say it's kind of like emo-fied, a bit like, it sounds depressed.
It's very, sorry, it's very interesting to me, because I've never had this outlook at all. I'm like, you know, I always talk about my friends that we're all going to end up on our own island, OAP, dancing, you know, for years, never seen an end, always life affirming. Of course, you have the kind of external collective depression that you feel that energy. The only Kanye West song that I know about that you're reminding me of is Love Lockdown. Now put your
Love
love lockdown. Your
It's
love.
a big
And
tune.
in the context that you're raising, I'm thinking, now that you're saying that, something that I've been loving you, the way I wanted to, if you look up the lyrics, we'll put up the links and stuff like that after this. My thing about it, it sounds devoid. I now that I'm thinking about it, it's weird. You hear the beat sometimes. Sometimes you only hear the lyric when much later, and it's like, oh, I get it now. Love Lockdown, he sounds devoid, like stone. His heart is stone. It's a defense. He's retreated. It's kind of devoid, robotic. And even though it's a tune, you know, and it's like one of those tunes, like, you know, like Outcast, Hey Ya.
Hey Ya, yeah.
And it's upbeat, and then you listen to the lyrics years later, and it's like, oh shit. It's not great about relationship. So okay, I do get you. Emo, I didn't know that was about, I thought it was emotional. I didn't know it was about that kind of state and musical movement.
Well, back in the day when I was okay, before that it was kind of more Linkin Park, who I really liked. It was very powerful, sonically very powerful, but often really sad. And
Wall of Sound. For people that don't know, sorry, Natalie, for people that don't know, we get very passionate about this. So look up, we're talking about quality music. The kind of timeline for this is college dropout, I think late 90s. 90s movement, ODB, Wu-Tang Clan, amazing, still going. And then 808 and Heartbreak, the album that Natalie's talking about, is kind of 2008, 9, and then forming onto amazing bands like Linkin Park, whose Chester Bennington unfortunately passed a few years ago to apparent suicide. But the tracks are wall of sound, rock, but the lyrics are, you will never forget them. Evanescence. Sorry, lady, please carry on.
Hybrid Theory, that is one of my top, I have to say 100 because I couldn't narrow it down to 10, but it's definitely one of my top 100 albums of all time. Hybrid Theory from Linkin. Like, it's that thing because then what made me really realize it, when you get artists like xxxtentacion, I hope I said his name right. Rest in peace to that.
Is this the Caucasian rapper with the rainbow, or is this?
No, you're thinking of six. You're thinking. You're talking about 6ix9ine's Rainbow Bright. But xxxtentacion, he was the youth that he got killed, and he used to have his hair like in little dreadlocks, but one side would be blonde and one side would be a next color. And the last song that he did was like, you could tell, like, because he'd done some really messed up things in his life, but he also had a side of him, something about the duality. There was the last tune that he did, which I'll send you, I can't remember what it's called, but it's talking about like fighting the self and death of the ego. And in the video, he actually has a fight with himself. Like, it's actually dread. Like, I'm like, raw. Anyway, I digress. But xxxtentacion, Juice WRLD, who sung Lucid Dreams. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not really my style of music, but when I heard it, I was at work with the youths them, and they put it on, and I remember just thinking, like, wow, what a beautiful depiction of a hard or ugly topic. Like, it's a really beautiful song, but it's really sad. Like, from the first couple of bars of it, I felt sad, like I wanted to cry, because it spoke to something. But if I'm honest, the thing that really broke my heart was the first time I saw it played was like a group of maybe 15 to 18-year-olds, and they all knew the words. And you know when you're singing along to a song, like, because you connect with it so much, it feels like the person wrote it for you. Like, I was watching this group of kids connecting with this real melancholy, and that broke my heart. Like, I'm like, oh my God, these are too young. And then I was in, because the way that work is, there's youngers and olders section. In the youngers, I think the youngers goes up to like 11, 12, 8 to 11, something like that. And they put the song on and they were singing along to it. And I'm like,
11. Wow.
8 to 11-year-olds. And I remember watching just to see, like, all right, is it one of them things where it's just like they're gonna like dancing? Is it Dancing Monkey or something where they sing along to it because it kind of said, "Ah, that's the next tune that's dread," you know, where they sing along to it just because of the rhythm and it's modern and it's banging or whatever. But I watched a group of 8 to 11-year-olds. Yeah, nobody was older than 12. Put it that way. And they was singing along with this tune with the same connectivity, like, and I'm watching it and like even now just thinking about it, like literally I can feel my heart broken. Like, yo, I even after a while, like sometimes, like depending on what mood they was came in with, I just sit down and have a discussion with them, and was able to take it into, because like that emotional, like emo is very kind of gothy, kind of dark and what have you. And just the things that it's like they've got so much to say and so much that they think about that they can't express, because actually how 8 to 11 they don't even lick teenage years and they can connect with them kind of feelings there. Like, how does that happen and people don't know? Do you get what I'm saying? That it broke me, man. And that's when I started to think about emo, because back in the day I used to listen to emo, certain work and that I used to like talk to the emo youths them, and then you'd see like the road youths them like background like myself looking as if to say, what is she talking to them for? I found it interesting. I never knew.
Can you describe to people, because in my mind I think I know, but can you describe to people that don't know the kind of differences, because people have their tribes, don't they?
Yeah. So back in the
age divide, or clothing.
Yeah, definitely clothing, but you see, that's what I mean. It's changed. The face of it is the feeling is the same, but from what I've observed, the face has changed somewhat. So back in the day, like when you'd say emo, it would usually be like little teenage white youths, maybe a little bit older, maybe like older in 19, 20, 21, where usually like dark makeup, like long fringes, kind of quite introverted, cover up inside. There'd be elements of self-harm, suicidal ideation, that kind of thing. Just really sad, possibly into alternatives like Wicca and things like that.
Wicca? What's Wicca?
Okay, so Wicca is a ancient. Well, no, it's not that old actually, but it's not as old as what's the other one, man? Not Wicca. Oh. If I say Stonehenge and all them.
Oh, Wicker Man.
Yeah, but there's one before Druidism and them things is a lot older, and I wouldn't say that Wicca's the same, but it's like I think it's about maybe 70 or so years old.
I don't know enough about it. I only know the film and the burning of a Wicca, yeah, ritual.
Like I think they class it as witchcraft, like modern day witchcraft, but not necessarily in a negative way.
Is it paganism? Is that what paganism is?
It will be considered paganism, but everything that's non-Christian is considered paganism, because it's basically there's Christianity or sort of Christian doctrine, and then everything outside of that is paganism, because then that would be considered worshipping false idols according to their doctrine, kind of thing. So it would be considered paganism, yes. I believe so.
You bridged this. So with the youth work that you did, the kind of African and African Caribbean and so-called urban black youth would see you with
there was
there was
a job that I took on one time and the youths them was just unruly in there. But there was a white lad, amazing kid. I won't call his name. But he was the only goth youth in there, kind of goth. No, well, the emo is different from goth. I think he was more goth. The big boots, long black leather coat, what have you. But him love the drum him things. So but the rest of the youths, them never really used to really include him like that. It seemed to be outcast, and a lot of the time, kind of them emo goth youths, them are used to kind of being out of the center, and that's how they find their tribe, kind of thing, I guess. But I used to find it fascinating until you turn around and explain to me about. He said he's Wiccan. I said I've heard of that, and he's saying like about the belief in the goddess in the triplicate, and I said hey, so like because that piqued my interest, and he was saying yeah, like there's the maiden, no, the girl, the maiden, and the crone. I said boom bam, but you have to accent store, and like cause the youths them that visually like and culturally more. There was a connection. They seen me talking to him. So then I used to I just took over, I gripped the room. And then I used to do like projects like when I was teaching them production, I'd be saying, all right, in terms of drums and figuring out how to counter bar and this and that, I'll get him to demonstrate on the drums. And then because obviously like I'll get him to play drums that they could sample to start building beats, showing them how to build beats. And then it comes to the point of where, okay, you want to do something, we're going to now do partly like building on the computer and partly live and putting them together. So then, and I'd ask him to give like, yo, you can holler at my man to get little drum lessons if you want, and start to bill him in that way. And then it's like
inclusive.
Yeah, man, because
good.
So then he was quite instrumental, and a project that I did in the Black Country, and these emo youths. I know when I walk through the door, them times I had my long dreadlocks down to my knees, like, and I'm very much who I am. I mean, not hide it from where the. So I've come in there to do this workshop now, and I could tell these kids was looking at me as if to say, "Who are you, mate?" Do you know what I mean? But we finished up, and I said some of them youths them come hug me up, and over the course of that project and that, and I'll be talking to them, and that's where I learned like, yo, to get the fishnets and put pan hand and pop certain style, and you get me, like it's wonderful. Like that's why I love learning from different cultures and what have you, and then that's when I started listening to certain groups, and that's where the kind of Linkin Park and that kind of quite sad, angry energy, to hear it expressed in, well, I always like rock music. I'll tell you the truth, even though I don't, sometimes why do people do stupid things? Because now I can't really F with them because they've tainted the music. But from what I heard, Run DMC and Aerosmith Walk This Way, and that phenomenal guitar riff, I'm like, you. I like rock. I've liked rock since then, to be honest with you. And so Linkin Park, Kill Switch Engage, Korn. What was the ones I was watching the documentary on the other day, man? What they're called, and they used to Slipknot, and like I mean some really out there stuff, because that scream, I can't do it. Like I can't do it. If I get to the point of where I'm screaming like that, I'm busting skull, put it that way. So I really have a respect for it, especially when you can hear what's going on.
So so I can kind of understand. So basically, I'm trying to tie it in, because my thing is being strong and having the courage of your convictions and strength of yourself makes you bridge all of this, which is why I say no one is above or below each other. And that's why I don't know these terminologies. So I don't believe it's arrogance for Kanye West to call himself a genius, because by the sounds of it, when we have worlds between us, so it's cross genre. So for me, there's nothing to learn from people who can only judge from surface. So it's amazing that the music will bridge us. So he has his different layers of arrangements, why he was he can hit cross demographics and reach all of the people, and why hip hop is the foundation of the world in terms of music, the drum beat, African beats and stuff like that. But for me, I can understand if it's about inclusivity, that if Kanye bridges and ODB and rap and emo, that I can understand why, being true to yourself, and why you were saying those young adults and even preteens, children to cry. Was it Juice World? Was it Juice or Dream World?
Juice World, Lucid Dreams.
When I cry, I don't see it as weakness. It's
No.
when it's not time of the month, the most natural thing in the world. Outside of that, it's a cathartic release. And if they're doing it together, to do it together in front of each other, it's that kind of, it's a positive worship for me, especially when you're releasing the tension, the pressure, the sus, the brutality, the expectations from men, from people, from your community, no youth centers, no this. I can understand why. I can only imagine, because it's not my experience, but I'm thankful you're in their life. But so what did you want to say about this then? Because it's very interesting to me, because rap and emo, how can they link? Now you've explained how.
Yeah, because that's it. I think the face has changed, because now the face of emo will be like often like dreads, little dreads and bright colours and face tats. I mean, what was my the one that put the diamond in his head? Man.
Give me clues. American.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
I don't really care if you die. Push me to the edge. All my friends are dead. He's going out with. Go on.
No, you go.
He's going out with or is involved with my girl from the City Girls, man.
Take your time.
You know, I have to go to Google because it's irritating me.
Me, I don't know these people.
Little
I had Little Nas in my head, but
no, Little Nas X. He's very.
He's gay.
Huh?
No, you go on.
Little Nas X is very interesting. Little Uzi Vert.
Who are these people? We're gonna put these, all of you who know, comment below links to these songs, what we should know about them, and I'll put in the links and the tags as well. But yeah, so
sometimes I like to watch I listen to the tune. You can go on YouTube often and find the lyric version to some of these songs. And I'd encourage parents a lot, you know, to actually do this, because for the most part, most people, especially people that are not into music or like as in doing and creating music, we mostly listen to the beat, like, yeah, I like this tune, and they might be able to mumble bit and say bits of the chord. But when you really deep and penny the lyrics that's going in, and you have to remember a lot of these rhythms, it's not like, say, classical music or jazz or something like that that's very complex and it moves and has a middle eight and a bridge and re te 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 te. It's usually pretty much the same all the way through, with these lyrics on top, so that it becomes a form of hypnosis. And if you're already in that phase, I mean, sort of 8 to 16, there's a lot of hormones, there's a lot of change, trying to figure out identity anyway. And then if you've got a day where you're feeling sad, and then this song that comes on and talks about, she looked me in my eye and said, I don't really care if you die. Push me to the edge. All my friends are dead. And that's the line, the push me to the edge. All my friends are dead. That's the part that most people tap in with.
It's like opening the tap. It's going to flood out.
Yeah. So then it's like, when you look at the face of emo now, so if you're kind of old school thinking, oh yeah, emos is them youths over there. which they should have never been them youths over there anyway, because they're youth. We're responsible for them. And even if we're not really dealing with them, we should have been dealing with the parents of them. Do you get what I mean? Like, but at the same time, it's like now, them youths don't look like them youths necessarily. It does, the face of it has changed, the feelings remain the same. So I think it's really important. And when you come from a background of picnic Ficina and not here, shut your mouth when big people's talking, all of this, and when people are just like too stressed out, too busy, whatever, just trying to survive, to really hear like, what is your youth thinking about? What are they thinking about? Do you get what I mean? So it's like, that was the biggest thing, because it's like, it made me realize that, like you said, rap music now, because it, to me, it's changed from hip hop to rap now. It's it's sort of difference, but different still. You know,
What's
it's
the difference
usually,
for those that don't know?
well, for me, hip hop is a way of life. Like you said, there's the 5 pillars, which is the graffiti, so art. Is it 4 pillars?
No, you say it because I'm counting it down.
Oh, yeah, so art in the graffiti, which is like the hieroglyphs. You've got
Yes.
the lyricism or the rapping, like that's like the poetry. Then you've got like the beats and the music and what have you. You've got the breakdancing. Oh Lord, what's the 5th one?
See, I always thought it was 4, but that doesn't mean I know it.
It could be. It might be. Oh no, I have to go to Google, because I could never like just disrespect myself.
While Natalie's searching, there is a production that I did a long time ago. Idris Elba, How Hip Hop Changed the World. It's on Channel 4. I don't know whether it's on 4 OD, but it might be somewhere on YouTube. And it had things like, it would explain to you, there's a lot of different amazing seminal pieces that explains the different movements and the influence of it. Go back, it's so worth it. Share what you know below. Crazy Legs was one of the dancers and stuff, all this kind of thing. So while Natalie's finding that, we're going to wrap up on this, and she's going to have the last word on this, on, is rap the new emo? From Kanye West to what's it called, youth globally, and how it affects them. And what did you want to say to wrap up?
Yeah, no, I was going to say the 5th pillar is knowledge, which is interesting, because I think in terms of the influence, because that's what it really is the powerful influence that Kanye, or the particularly 808 and Heartaches, in the changing of the guard. It's just like, in terms of knowledge, it's fine to feel those feelings, but then you have to apply the knowledge, like, where is that coming from, the why, how can it be fixed, who can help me fix it, who do I need to speak to, if I'm feeling like I am, you know, having thoughts of not being here anymore, or being the architect of my own leaving this place, where do I go, who do I talk to, is it okay, you get what I mean, like, but what's happening is that there's a dual thing of these feelings, but actually I'm going to try and present the best picture, to the point of where man can put a 24 million, so-called 24 million pound diamond in his forehead, have it implanted like vision from the film, or vision, but we'll go into that because that was actually quite funny. You know, the showing I got money, the phone at the money phone at the ear, buying your partner new cars, after you've
to be branded luxury designer all the time, when the wealth is within you,
and it couldn't save you, it can't save you, and to the point of where little Uzi Vert, because I was watching something about the 27 Club. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Watching something about the 27 Club. Uzi Vert is 26, and there was an interview. I think it was Fat Joe.
This is a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Amy Winehouse, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, My Man from the Doors, the guy that played the
Jim
guitar at the
Morrison.
Crossroad, Jim Morrison, thank you, and a few others. There's something called the 27 Club, like where there's these really gifted artists who die at 27, and somebody was interviewing this Uzi Vert youth, and he's 26, and he was talking about the 27 Club, and he was saying, well, if it is that, like, my family's looked after and whatever, like, almost resigned to it, but which is horrific enough in itself, because 27 ain't no life really. Been nearly double that myself right here now. So, but what's happened is, due to the effects and the influence of those in the 27 Club, from what I can see, and there's a kind of a talk of now it's dropping down to the 21 Club. Because when you think of xxxtentacion, King Von, what was the Versace, Dior, that you there, Pop Smoke.
Okay.
And
Versace. Oh, yes, that one.
No, that no, there's two, because there's I think that one you're on about is Offset and them Migos. I think. I try and keep up, but me can't keep up. Me tired. Them tired me out.
Also, just the Robert Johnson is the guitarist famed that the 27 Club that he made. What's called in myth or fact? Who knows that he made a pact with the devil to have such a genius gift of guitarists at the Crossroads,
and used to play Facing the Wall.
Hey, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna leave this here because this there might be a part 2 to this, because it's very, very interesting. Please comment below and share if this has affected you firsthand. Might put a trigger warning on this as well, but it's just, this is more of a lifeline. It might say trigger warning, but it's going to be a lifeline. The knowledge that Natalie has kindly shared, it's very important. There's, you know, as you said, the changing of the guard. So this has been Is Rap the New Emo? Comment below, share, educate us. Thank you so much for your time, Natalie.
Thanks.
Amazing. Stay blessed, everybody.
Good vibes. Peace.